The time is now 7 o'clock.
I wish we could begin with some good news on this Monday morning. Unfortunately, we have to start with news about a major accident. The ground collapse over an underground tunnel construction site in Gwangmyeong, with one worker still trapped underneath. And then yesterday morning, another sinkhole opened up in Busan near the 사용하는 subway line construction site. This comes just a few weeks after that fatal sinkhole accident in Seoul's Gangdong-gu district. Remember that one, right? Well, ground stability, or actually maybe underground instability, is that visible to the naked eye? Well, by nature, not. But there are certainly signs, and we have to wonder why these signs are being ignored on the scene or by authorities. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, April 14th on befm, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well. I mean, we had this weekend lots of winds, rain, and in some areas, hail. 우박까지 내렸잖아요. So I'm hoping that you're all doing well joining us this morning. Welcome to the program. Top story this morning, though, like I just said, is that ground collapse that happened on Friday. The road over an underground tunnel collapsed Friday afternoon, trapping 2 workers, one of whom was rescued, one still missing after 3 days, as search resumed after adverse weather yesterday. So the site was under construction for Gwangmyeong's Sinansan line, and apparently there had been signs of trouble with cracks discovered in multiple pillars at the site, and the site had been evacuated. And actually, yesterday morning, we heard about another sinkhole near Busan's 사용하는 subway line construction site. I mean, this has been a constant problem area here in Busan. And the thing is, good news, no one was injured. But the thing is this, there have been around a dozen sinkholes along this construction site just in the past year. And with so much construction going on around the country and these underground accidents happening rather frequently, people are growing concerned about foundational safety. So the Gangdong-gu district sinkhole accident in Seoul happened just, 3 weeks ago? I'm sure many of you saw that footage, killing a motorcyclist. And, you know, we can't forget about the Saseong-gu sinkholes from last summer as well. So the Seoul City and local districts, they have run these surveys of high-risk foundations last year after, another sinkhole accident. The thing is this, though. The survey couldn't detect the issues that had led to the Gangdong-gu sinkhole. And the city in the survey, admitted to not reflecting detailed geological information. And so with these types of matters, when it comes to the foundation, we're talking about like literally the ground, right? People have no choice but to trust the authorities, their examinations, their inspections, their safety measures. And as there's no way for a layperson like you or me to see what's going on underground. So it does fall upon, in this type of situation, on the central and local governments to make sure the very ground we live on and travel on, that it's not putting us in danger. So that's our main theme for today. All right, ready for our text topic for this rainy Monday morning. Here we go. What do you always keep in stock at your home? Or what is it something you or your family just keeps on eating or using and you have a hard time keeping it in stock? 자, 우리 집에 절대로 떨어지지 않는 물건은? Oh, what is it? I'm so curious. For every family, I'm sure it's very different. 혹은 너무 많이 써서 계속 사다 놔야 하는 것은. It can be 물건, it can be 음식, it could be whatever. It could be a drink, everything, anything under the sun that you purchase and you have to keep on buying it. 많이 사용하죠, 이거. For example, in my house, just to give you an example, to get the ball rolling, as they say. 저희 집은요, 이거는 절대로 떨어지지 않아요. 몇 가지 제품들이 있습니다. Number one, 모래. 무슨 모래? 고양이 모래. The cat litter. Always. Because, we have to make sure our cats are, going regularly, right? And also, hand in hand with a litter, we have the cat food. And then we have, number three, the rabbit hay. The Timothy hay that Jackson loves. And then we have the rabbit pellets. 우리는 동물들, our pets, their livelihood and food, very important. And then we have the very, 너무 재미없지만 저희는 항상 샴푸하고 conditioner, we always have stocked because we have, lots of people in the house plus lots of hair. Yes, we're a hairy bunch. We have lots of hair. 숱이 많아요. 샴푸 좀 많이 쓰는 편이라서 shampoo and conditioner. And then one more, if I could add, a particular ham that my family really likes. And then I hide the ham in strategic places. 몸에 좋지 않으니까 막 숨겨요. 근데 어떻게 막 찾아내요. They find it. So send in your answers, your responses to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel platform, find our channel BFM or 부산영어방송, and you can check in on us right now like we're streaming live, or you can watch again at your leisure. Also, pound 9050 샵 9050. You can send your message that way on your phone. It's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. Same thing there. Search for BEFM, 부산영어방송, to add us. And the ways you can listen to us, if you're in the Busan area, on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. And like I said, we're streaming live right now on YouTube. And we're available on the BEFM app itself and the Papang app. Both you can download for free. You can listen to the Wa글와글 segment. Looking ahead to our Monday morning together. All right, so we have Showbiz Buzz with Michael. And hour number 2, we have Business Perspectives. And then for a special interview today, what are we going to be focusing on? We're talking about, once again, the trade war. This time, we're going to focus on the U.S. and China. Because remember last week, we were up to 124%. The numbers are astronomical. So how is this affecting not just the two countries, but of course, trickling down to South Korea and other countries around the world? Let's find out in hour number 2 with our expert, and I'll be back with today's headlines. It's now 7:07. These are today's headlines. Confusion over electronics tariff exemption. U.S. officials said that the Trump administration's decision to exempt electronic devices from smartphones to semiconductors earlier was only a temporary reprieve, but those products will face separate levies. Search continues for missing worker at subway construction site. Rescuers resumed operations yesterday and worked through the night to look for the missing worker from the subway construction site collapse in Gwangyang City. Ex-President Yoon's insurrection trial to start today. The first criminal trial for former President Yoon Suk-yeol will begin today at the Seoul Central District Court, 10 days after he was removed from office. Strong winds sweep across South Korea, causing damage. Strong winds of gusts of up to 20.9 meters per second swept across South Korea yesterday, toppling structures and causing power outages in various parts of the nation, authorities said. At least 34 killed in Russian ballistic missile attack on Ukraine. At least 34 people have been killed and 117 injured, including 15 children, after a Russian attack on the center of the city of Sumy, according to Ukrainian authorities. These are today's headlines. let's greet Sue first for Busan Updates. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
It was very good, relaxing.
Yes. And today we're talking about things that you just can't keep in stock. You have to have them, things reordered, or you keep on constantly buying. So do you have anything like that?
Yes. Like you, my family also has like 2 cats and 1 husky.
Yes.
So we should have pet foods all the time.
Right.
And on top of it, we need like scotch tapes.
Oh.
Because with the cats, their
the
fur is
fur.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So we need to like roll it over our like blankets and sofa area.
Yeah.
And lint roller, 돌돌이.
Important.
For our clothes.
Yes.
And yeah.
Ooh, yeah. When you have pets, you got to be like extra, on top of things, right?
Yeah.
So this is, for us, like we literally, as soon as we walk in, the first thing we do, wash our hands with soap and then go change.
Right.
Yeah, because we're like, our outdoor clothes, we don't want fur on them. All right, we're going to dive into our first update. This is about lodging and restaurant. The industries regarding those type of businesses are facing this record-breaking slump, correct?
Yes. Lodging and restaurant sectors are key parts of the domestic service industry.
Yes.
And they're going through an unprecedented long-term slump. According to Statistics Korea, in February, the lodging and restaurant industry's production index dropped by a 3.8% compared to the same month last year. And this means the 22nd consecutive month without any growth. And it is the longest downturn since data collection began in 2000. And as the production index has declined for nearly 2 years, the post-COVID recovery has reversed, bringing business conditions back down to levels that were seen during the pandemic. And the decline is worse in the restaurant sector compared to the lodging industry.
Yes. So what are the factors that are kind of deepening the crisis right now?
Weak domestic demand, political instability, and international uncertainty like U.S. tariffs. These are all hurting consumer confidence and spending. And the fear is that this could trigger a wider small business and employment crisis.
Sure.
In 2023, nearly 1 million small businesses closed, which is an all-time high, with restaurants making up a large share. And given that lodging and restaurant production didn't rebound even once throughout last year, the actual number of closing businesses may be even higher. And experts warn that without a turnaround, the self-employed sector, particularly in food and hospitality, may face even more severe hardships.
I see. So that's what's going on with the lodging and restaurant industries right now. All right, next let's talk about something very local. The Nam천마리나 in Suyeonggu district is set for revival. This is after kind of 5 years of neglect.
Yes. So this is a facility for marine leisure activities, and it was built in 2014 through a public-private partnership, including a diving pool, yacht docking area, and space for over 100 jet skis. But the place has been abandoned since 2020 after the private operator went bankrupt. And due to unpaid fees and financial issues, the marina was shut down and became cluttered with illegally moored boats.
Yes.
Over 5 years of operations, the operator failed to pay approximately 430 million won in usage fees. This led to the cancellation of their license. And the operator filed a lawsuit challenging the cancellation, and this led to a legal battle.
I see. So that's what happened. So do we know what happened as a result and maybe the city's plan moving forward?
Yes. However, in 2022, the court ruled that the license cancellation was lawful. Then last month, the city also won a separate eviction lawsuit filed against unauthorized occupiers. And around 20 vessels will be removed, with the cleanup expected to finish by June before typhoon season. And the city is now exploring ways to bring the marina back to life, possibly turning it into a jet ski hub or scuba diving training center. A public agency may take over operations to prevent privatization. And the Busan Development Institute suggested developing the facility into a landmark that promotes marine sports.
So hopefully this will kind of revive this, of course, facility, right? Next up, let's talk about the Busan Institute of Academic Performance Developing, which is offering focused college admissions counseling for underprivileged students.
From today to May 23rd, one-on-one customized college admission counseling week will be held at the Busan Career and College Admission Support Center. And this program is for students who have limited access to college entrance information, including students with special needs, multicultural youth, and out-of-school teens. So this initiative aims to bridge the information gap and reduce reliance on costly private consulting services.
So give us further details on this.
Yes. Counseling sessions for students with special needs and their guardians will be held today until the 21st. For out-of-school youth, it's May 19th to 16th after general equivalency diploma 검정고시 results are announced.
Yes.
And sessions for multicultural youth and their guardians will be May 19th to 23rd. And appointments can be made through the center's official website.
So once again, for the out-of-school youth, it's May 9th through 16th.
Yes.
And then for multicultural youth and the guardians, May 19th to the 23rd. All right, next up, let's talk about this eco-friendly campaign, which has been launched in the city to promote the exchange of eco bags for green foods.
Yes.
What's this about?
So if you have extra clean eco bags,
Yes.
you can get some eco-friendly and sustainable products in exchange.
Okay.
So the Busan Council for Sustainable Development will host the Eco Bag Project at the Busan Citizens Sharing Market on April 19th at Songsangyeon Square in Busan Jingu District.
Sure.
And clean washed eco bags will be accepted and exchanged for items like environmentally friendly tissues and soap. And also this event will be held once a month in June, August, and October at the Lawn Plaza in Songsangyeon Square. The co-chair of the Busan Council for Sustainable Development said that hopefully this voluntary participation grows into a daily habit and helps to build a more sustainable Busan city.
Ah, yes, indeed. And our last bit of news, let's talk about the Busan Infrastructure Corporation, which will be hosting a variety of street performances. This is going to be at the Spo Park waterfront. This is located in Kumjeonggu district, correct?
Yes. From April to June, a series of performances in collaboration with the Kumjeong Cultural Foundation will be held 4 times every Saturday from 1 p.m. for 40 minutes. And the performances will feature genres like classical music, traditional Korean music, kugak, and opera.
Ah, sounds good. So if this is up your alley, go check it out. Thank you for all the updates. Be careful out there, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
All right, and now back to you, the listeners. It's time for your traffic and weather. Let's check out the road conditions right now at 7:17 on this Monday morning. There's an accident to report on the Busan-Ulsan Expressway coming toward Busan, right around the Cheongyang ramp right now. Also, congestion detected from the Manduk intersection to the Namhae Expressway, the Kupo Nakdonggang Bridge right now. Also, backed up on Luno Samsung-daedo from the Myeongji Underpass to Shinho Bridge. And lastly, it's looking slow on the Dongso Overpass from Bomnaekgor Ramp to the old Kaegum Tollgate. As for the weather, it's currently 5 degrees here in Busan, and it's raining in parts of the city. The daytime high is expected to go up to 15 degrees, so you can expect rain sporadically throughout the day. Across the nation, rain, even snow, and yes, hail forecast across the country with strong winds. It is significantly colder today than usual, so you're going to have to bundle up, and please be careful out there. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for News Digest. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you had a good weekend.
I did.
Good.
I went to, where did I go? Gyeongju. with my parents.
Ooh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
saw the very last of the cherry blossoms. I'm sure they're gone now, especially after this morning. So yeah.
Right, yes. Well, I want to know, what is like the item or items, stuff that you just can't keep stocked because you or one of your family members just uses it up?
We're all
So-
snackers.
Snackers.
We are
Okay.
massive snackers. So we just say, whatever we buy, it's going to be gone within the day. Because our joke is like whenever we go to a restaurant or the grocery store, and we just order a bunch and like
what kind
이거
of
다
snack?
먹겠어? And they're like, and another person's like, 왜 못 먹어? And it's just I know. It's always me. And my mom's like, are you sure? Like, should we get this much? I'm like, 엄마, 오늘 다 먹어. It's like, Mom, we're just, anything. Really, I'm a fan of the salty and sweet, the savory and sweet balance. You keep the balance
단짠?
going, 단짠, and you just,
So good?
it keeps going down.
Oh.
Just, yep. My mom's favorite recent obsession, the yogurt ice cream with all the toppings. And she like specifically,
Expensive one?
and she's like, I would like that to be always in stock. And I'm like, who are you talking to, lady? Like, okay, mom. All right, cool.
Some of the brands are kind of expensive.
Yeah,
Mom.
she wants that
That
brand,
one?
and she's like, I would like that to be always in the freezer. Cool, me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Yes.
we all wish we could have it in stock all the time. All right, so we're going to continue our discussion regarding the Gwangyang Underground Tunnel accident. So as I mentioned before, I guess there were signs before the collapse. So this is very much a big issue.
Right. So let's talk about what happened from Thursday of last week. So around 9:50 p.m. on Thursday, so Thursday night, they found multiple cracks on the pillars of the tunnel that was under construction, and workers reported some of the metal creaking sound as well.
Yes.
So the on-site supervisor at that point evacuated all 17 workers from underground and reported this to the contractor, which is POSCO ENC, and then to Gwangmyeong City to request roads to be closed around the site.
Sure.
So at least on Thursday night when signs were detected, everything went according to what should have happened, according to the manual.
Okay.
So reinforcement work began Friday morning. So it was the safety reinforcement workers that were trapped after the accident. 18 workers, they were welding on these H-beams. So welding is 용접 onto the cracks to reinforce the pillars. So 12 of the workers had who were underground at that point, so again, Friday morning, apparently detected signs of collapse right before. So some cracking sound and dust falling down.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was the above ground workers who did not see the signs. So these were the ones that were trapped with the collapse. So search continues. One was found. Search continues for the other missing worker. Again, adverse weather conditions. They're making the all-night search difficult.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about what may have caused the collapse itself. Do we know?
Right. So, of course, investigation is underway, and the Land Infrastructure and Transport Ministry formed an accident response team.
Yes.
With Gyeonggi Nambu Police also having launched an investigation. So, here's what we know about the construction method and what may have been going on at the time. So, first, the construction was part of the subway Sinansan line, and it was being done before. Previously using a two-arch method.
Yes.
So what this is it's used when two tunnels are being dug out for the subway directions going both ways. Usually you would have the upper line and the lower line kind of separate, but this is when parts of the tunnel overlap. So again, 상행선, 하행선 터널이 일부 겹치는, that method is the two-arch.
Yes.
So experts say that this is a method that's been in use for quite a while, especially in areas that just doesn't have a lot of land. And it actually costs more than the conventional two separate tunnel method.
Okay.
So at first glance, it doesn't seem that it was a cost-cutting measure. Again, we will have to wait until the full investigation results are out.
Sure.
In the meantime, in terms of what's going on around the site, some 2,300 residents, they evacuated immediately after the collapse. They are all back home.
Yes.
But the nearby elementary school will be closed for 2 days as the safety inspection is going on.
I see. Thanks for giving us the latest on this accident. And of course, we're hoping that worker's found.
Right.
Next, we're going to go to the latest in the global trade war. We have a little bit of good news as the U.S. has announced exemptions from the reciprocal tariffs. And then the Trump administration said that that there isn't an exemption. It's a little confusing.
We thought we had good news.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. So
Right.
let's again go back to the beginning, sort of on Friday,
Okay.
local time. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the CBP, they issued a notice on a list of exemptions from the reciprocal tariffs.
Right.
And that included smartphones, laptops, PCs, servers, and semiconductor equipment to apply retroactively from April 5th. And this was really good news for South
yes.
Korea because that media outlets reported that this will ease concerns for companies like Samsung Electronics, Apple, Dell, Nvidia, and TSMC.
Right.
But then on Sunday afternoon, U.S. time, so for us, just a couple hours ago, the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, said that these exemptions are only temporary. And his comments actually follow up comments on Truth Social from President Donald Trump, who wrote there was no tariff exception announced on Friday. These products, going back to the electronics, they are subject to the existing 20% fentanyl tariffs, and they're just moving to a different tariff bucket. And he accused the quote, in all caps, fake news of knowing this but refuses to report it. So again, Lutnick explained further, they are exempt from the reciprocal tariffs. 상호 관세에서는 빠졌으나, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs. 반도체 관세는 포함될 것이다. And the 반도체 관세, the semiconductor tariffs are coming in probably a month or two.
I
So,
see.
to quote Donald Trump again, nobody's getting off the hook.
Yes. So there was confusion.
There is still confusion.
Yes.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, the trade war between the U.S. and China is really heating up. And of course, I know we have our expert coming on later on, but we want to get the latest because there was tit for tat, for tat. What's going on?
So let me give you a bit of a preview
Yes.
before we dive into it with the expert. So the latest shot has been fired by China. On Friday, Beijing retaliated against President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs, raising its tariffs on U.S. goods. So once again, these would be American products being imported to China
Yes.
from the previous 84% to 125%. And in a statement announcing this, the Chinese Finance Ministry said that even if the U.S. continues to impose higher tariffs, it'll no longer make economic sense and will become a joke in the history of world economy. So
Right.
quite a pointed comment there. But this might be the final move from China because the statement further said with the current tariffs, there's no longer a market for U.S. goods imported into China. So Beijing will ignore any potential higher tariffs from the U.S. imposed onto Chinese goods.
Okay.
And experts seem to agree that this is the end of the escalation in terms of bilateral tariff rates because both China and the U.S. they've sent clear messages. And I mean, we're at 125% and 145%. So they're saying there's no point to raising the tariffs any further.
Yes. So what's next then? Does this mean that the two leaders might communicate, might talk?
We would hope so. But right now, damage assessment, China's Commerce Ministry did say they're open to negotiations on equal footing. This might be key. So here's the thing. Both sides are saying they're open, but no one's budging. No one's making the first call.
Okay.
So just hours before this 125% tariff announcement from Beijing, the Trump administration warned Chinese officials against raising the tariffs
Right.
and told them President Xi Jinping should request a call with President Trump. And then they went to bed. The following morning, they wake up to the 125% tariff.
Yes.
Also, a comment from President Xi Jinping that China, for 70 years, has never relied on handouts from others, and they're not afraid of any unjust suppression. So the message is clear. For the time being, until the effects really settle in, it seems that neither side is going to call first.
Yes. Who's going to blink first? We'll see. Well, moving on to our next topic. We've discussed this before, this whole early childhood education. We'll call it zeal, I think is an understatement for some people here in South Korea, with the first ever figures on how prevalent private education for pre-K children are. And now we have figures on what kind of effects that these so-called English kindergartens, which are actually, private 학원s, they have on the children themselves, right?
Right. So English kindergartens are kind of representative of the country's pre-K private education,
Yes.
although there are many, many other forms as well.
Right.
But the government for the first time conducted a policy study into the possible side effects or the effects of early childhood private education. And these were released via an exclusive report by EBS. So of the 1,000 parents surveyed, 37% said they put their children in private education. Again, this is pre-kindergarten age or
Yes.
kindergarten or pre-kindergarten. Most common subject being English. But how effective was this? What kind of effects did it have? 26.7% said that their children were stressed about English education. 34.3% said that the parents experienced conflict with their children. And 42% say that there have been financial tolls, including having to cut down on other basic living costs to pay for such education. And then the reason that we always talk about this is because it is so, connected to the other issue of low birth rate.
True.
41% said that they won't have any more children or are hesitant about having more children because of the early childhood education.
Well, we have the numbers, at least from this one survey. What did educators think about this whole issue?
Right. So it's not just about finances.
Right.
It's about the emotional well-being of the children. So educators on the scene who are interviewed by EBS said for younger children who are before the kindergarten age, they're not very expressive verbally about their emotions.
Sure.
So whatever they're feeling inside, that could lead them to act out later on in life. And psychiatrists say that they do see a lot of younger patients who suffer from panic attacks once they reach elementary school. And this seemed to be due to potentially years of pent-up issues like insomnia and anxiety. And the symptoms are often worse because they miss out on the crucial earlier years of treatment. So experts say that for many children, an environment where you have to take tough courses in a language that you don't understand or recognize could be very stressful.
Well, I hope that parents take this survey seriously.
Right.
At least take a look at their own children and their situation.
Every child is
Yes.
different, but right, you know your children the best.
You should, yes. Well, thank you for going over all the news. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And with that, we are ready for our first song break of the morning. Here it is, 비와 당신 by Rumblefish, as requested by Benny. And I'll be back in a moment.
이젠 당신이 그립지 않죠. 보고 싶은 마음도 없죠. 사랑한 것도 잊혀가네요. 조용하게 할 수 없는 건 그런 내 맘이 비가 오면 눈물이 나요. 아주 오래전 당신 떠나던 그날 잊어버렸는데 바보 같은 난 눈물이 날까.
Welcome back, everybody. So we today are talking about things that you have trouble keeping in stock at your home. So definitely this is what we're talking about. But before we get into some of your responses, I do want to get into this this whole issue of rain or snow that's coming down in most parts of the country, along with gusts of wind and thunder and lightning and even hail. So please be aware of safety. Tie down any signs, trees, windows, aged structures, or anything that can get blown in the wind ahead of time. And for children, seniors, and others, try not to go outside if possible. And for those who are driving, drive more slowly than you usually do. And please don't approach construction sites where objects may fall down or coastal areas with chances of high waves, because it's not just, from yesterday or over the weekend, it's continuing into today. So I just want to say, let's be careful out there on this Monday morning. All right. So before I get into some of your responses, I do want to get to Kat's pick first, because today, as I was looking up this clip, I was kind of really moved by what he said. Let's get to Kat's pick. Jonny Kim. Do you know who he is? Well, I want to focus on him today, but not just because he's a former Navy SEAL, not just because he went to Harvard Med School and now is a NASA astronaut. But yes, by the way, he made his journey to the International Space Station, but he's just so inspiring. Here's a clip from CBS News.
When I sometimes stop to reflect and think about my life, I think that it's a dream.
Your journey seems improbable even to you.
It does, yes.
He grew up a first-generation Korean American in Los Angeles, the son of an alcoholic, abusive father. Kim describes himself then as a scared little boy. When he was 16, a life-changing revelation. He first heard about the Navy SEALs.
This is what a warrior is. It was everything I wasn't at the time, but I wanted to be.
As a SEAL, that scared little boy found the warrior within. But after 2 deployments in Iraq as part of SEAL Team 3, the action he saw as a combat medic had taken a toll.
I was just really burnt out. I was very burnt out from the combat, from the war, and the loss.
It also altered his view of what it meant to be a warrior.
A warrior is someone that is in continued pursuit of excellence in their craft. It doesn't have to be combat.
Dr. Jonathan Kim.
That pursuit of excellence led this combat medic to medical school, Harvard Medical School. As he was applying for his residency,
and liftoff.
A YouTube video of a NASA launch changed the trajectory of Dr. Kim's life.
Immediately converted me into a space nerd. I let all my residency directors know, by the way, I applied to be a NASA astronaut. There's a very, very low chance I'll make it, but if I do, I will leave the residency to pursue this opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest NASA astronaut, Jonathan Kim.
18,000 candidates, 12 selected. Even among astronauts, Kim's resume stood out.
How do you answer those people who think, how did Jonny Kim become all the things that he has?
I would hope that people who see my journey see it as someone who is in pursuit of being a warrior and being able to positively impact the world while you're doing it.
And earlier in the clip, just in case you missed it, he said, a warrior is someone that is in continuous pursuit of excellence in their craft. And that's what I'm going to leave you with on this Monday morning.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for Showbiz Buzz. We have Michael here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. How are you? How was your weekend?
It was good. It's raining and the hailstones. Oh my goodness. Did you see it?
I didn't see them in Busan, but people are saying that there's hail in Busan.
I was up in Seoul during the weekend.
Right. In Seoul.
The hailstones. I got hit on one of them. It hurt.
아팠어요?
네, 진짜 아파요.
Like 돌멩이처럼 딱딱해?
좀 큰 거 하나를 맞았는데.
어디?
It's not big. That big.
Where?
On the back of my head.
안 돼. 우리
정신 차려.
우리 what was his nickname? 뒤태미 나면 안 된대.
아니요. 더 예뻐진 것 같아요.
툭 튀어나왔어요?
또 혹 튀어나왔고. 예.
Yes. Oh, there we go with the close-up. Yes. We see evidence of that. Yes, 툭 튀어나왔네요.
조금 튀어나왔습니다, 여기가.
Hey, text topic time.
Yeah.
You ready? Mm-hmm. What is something that you always have at home, meaning like you always have it in stock? Mm-hmm. Like some people are saying like milk, or some people, like for us, we always have toilet tissue, like never endless supply of toilet tissue. Is there something like that at home where you 항상 이걸 주문하거나 항상 산 있는 거요?
For me, it's coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah, it's like I can never get enough of coffee. So like, and it always, I think it's important that you get the
Is it real coffee?
It's not the mix coffee.
It's not. Mixed coffee 아니에요?
It's
the capsule?
The drip coffee.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, it's not. It's not as fancy as it sounds.
Ooh.
Like you go because I go to Japan from time to time, and there is this favorite brand that I like, but it's really cheap. So I would get like 5 to 6 packs of them every time I go.
Every time you go.
Just to stack them up in piles.
근데 이게 좀 뭐가 내가 좋아하는 게 많으면 약간 뿌듯한 느낌.
맞아.
I get that.
바라만 보고 있어도
like
it just
satisfactory.
Exactly. It just makes you happy just by looking at it. Yeah. So
yes.
Coffee.
친절한 레일라님. 안 돼, 우리 뒤태 보험 들어놓으세요.
괜찮아요. 제가 뒤통수가 원래 없어서 I needed some kind of a bump in the back.
Okay, 알겠습니다. Well, I wish we could go on about your 뒤태, but we got to get into our showbiz buzz.
뒤태, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for us?
Yeah, I think it's great news for South Korea overall. So archives documenting the Jeju April 3rd uprising and South Korea's post-war reconstruction efforts have been added to UNESCO's Memory of the World Register.
Yes.
The government said Friday. So that's 세계기록 유산 in Korean. According to the Korea Heritage Service, UNESCO approved the inscription during an executive board meeting in Paris on Thursday, following a recommendation from the program's International Advisory Committee.
Yes.
The addition brings the total number of South Korean entries on the Memory of the World list to 20. So both collections, the Jeju April 3rd Uprising archives and South Korea's post-war reconstruction efforts, are regarded as important historical records that capture a chapter of modern Korean history.
Right.
So I won't go into details of the two records, but the first of the archives, the Revealing Truth, Jeju April 3rd archives chronicle the massacre of islanders by government forces between March 1st, 1947 and September 21, 1954.
Right.
The collection includes 14,673 items of court records, news articles, investigation reports, victims' testimonies, and photographs. And the other one is the post-war forest rehabilitation records documenting nationwide recovery efforts following the 1950 to 1953 Korean War.
Right.
So these two records are now part of UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. Congratulations, South Korea.
Oh, yes. I mean, however painful certain parts of history may be,
yes,
very important to preserve them in context. So
And
we
I
can
was
grow.
surprised because
Right.
there are so many records there that we
Yes.
didn't know about.
Exactly.
And I think it's a good gesture. I mean, it's very important that now this is going to be remembered at one of the world's largest, archives.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for covering this story, but we're going to move on. What's this story about, the next one?
The next one is pretty interesting, at least for me personally. South Korean scientists have launched the music and an image of the iris, so 홍채 of an eye, of K-pop star G-Dragon into space. So they basically shot up the data containing the music and the image of the iris of G-Dragon into
Yes.
space in a groundbreaking collaborative media artwork blending art, science, and technology. The Space Institute of the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, or KAIST in short, said Thursday that the world's first space sound transmission was successfully conducted a day earlier by Lee Jin-jun, a contemporary artist and associate professor at KAIST in collaboration with G-Dragon.
Yes.
Part of KAIST's AI Entertech initiative with G-Dragon's agency,
Right.
Galaxy Corporation, the project aimed to send a musical message from the artist into outer space, according to the institute. G-Dragon, as we all know, also served as a visiting professor in KAIST's mechanical engineering department.
Right.
So, the artist Lee used generative AI technology to create a media art piece titled Iris, based on an image of the singer-rapper's eye. The audio component included sound from the Emil bell, a historic Korean bronze bell over 1,000 years old. That sounds Emile. You remember that?
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Along with G-Dragon's recent hit, Home Sweet Home. The combined audio was uploaded and transmitted via an antenna aboard a next-generation satellite launched in May 2023 on the Nuri rocket. Simultaneously, the iris image was projected onto a 13-meter space antenna using projection mapping, a technique that overlays video onto physical surfaces to create dynamic visual effects. So it sounds a little bit similar to Voyager 1 and 2. Remember that? Yeah, with the
Yes.
golden records. Still traveling. Yeah, the outer circles of the solar system. So
Indeed. Very exciting. So thanks for covering that story. And moving on to our next one. What's this one about?
this one is pretty surprising, I think. The film industry. For the first time in 12 years,
Yes.
no South Korean films have been included in the official selection of the Cannes? Is that the right way?
In English, would they just call it Cannes?
Cannes.
I know in French,
difficult.
they say it different, like Cannes.
Yeah. Should I
Yes.
go with the French pronunciation?
The
or
S is silent, and it's so complicated.
Cannes,
Cannes.
yeah.
The
Film
Cannes
Festival.
Film Festival. Yes.
So no South Korean films have been included there. According to the festival's organizing committee, which announced the lineup for the 78th Cannes Film Festival on Thursday evening, no Korean films were named among the invited works.
Okay.
Korean films were not only excluded from the main competition section, where the Palme d'Or or other top honors are awarded, but also from out-of-competition categories and sidebars such as the midnight screenings and On Certain Regard. This marks the first time since 2013 that Korea cinema has been shut out from both competition and non-competition categories at Cannes. Yeah, so there are possibilities of Korean films being included later, but for now, at least for the competition section,
Not in the lineup, right?
Not in the lineup.
Okay, well, whatever the reason may be, hopefully, Korean cinema has a fantastic year this year, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hoping for the best.
And let's move on to our next story. What's this one about?
This one is, coincides with the political situation in Korea with the medical school protests. I'm sure you guys covered this before. But Resident Playbook, the much delayed and hotly debated medical drama series, finally arrived last Saturday. The TVN series delves into the lives of rookie doctors working as obstetrics and gynecology residents at Yulje Medical Center, a spinoff of hit series Hospital Playlist. Resident Playbook sees the return of producer Shin Won-ho, the creator of the beloved human drama.
Yes, yes.
This drama was originally slated to premiere in May 2024. So that's last year. As a
Yes.
follow-up to TVN's ratings mega hit Queen of Tears, the series was shelved for nearly a year despite having wrapped filming.
Yes.
The delay came amid nationwide protests and strikes by doctors and medical students opposing government plans to increase the medical school admissions quota. With some resident doctors yet to return to work and the tensions still unresolved, the drama now faces a complicated launch as it finally premiered last week on cable network TVN.
Right. So in Korean, the title is 언젠가가 that's the title. 언젠가는 슬기로울 전공의 생활. It's pretty long.
It's pretty
yes.
long. Yeah.
Yes. 전공의 생활.
But I remember,
Yes.
this drama series coming up, and they've been talking about it last year.
A lot of people were looking forward to it because
Exactly.
the previous series was so popular,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yes.
So everybody, I think this is a good news for people who've been waiting for this drama to come aboard on television shows. So
Yes.
it's good news.
Well, hopefully, I don't know what like the topics they're going to cover. Like if they're going to cover anything that is happening currently. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But thanks for going over all the ins and outs of the showbiz buzz, everything that's happening here domestically and around the world. So for our listeners, let's if you don't mind, since you're still here, some people saying what they have in stock. Going back to our text topic. So Hisung님 says, I always have fruits in stock. Are you one of those people? You said coffee, right?
Yeah.
Any other foods or items that you really always have?
Well, what I don't stock are fruits.
Oh, because?
I don't like fruits.
과일을 안 좋아하세요?
Banana, maybe?
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but strawberries, I mean, they get so. I don't know, listeners, if you experience the same thing. But for me, there's so many choparis. How do you like fruit flies?
Fruit fly.
Oh my goodness, like
날파리 아닌가? I don't know what they're
I don't
called.
know what that's
whatever.
called, but yeah, like they're flies.
Yeah, fruit
Like
flies.
fruits. You stock up fruits, there are flies.
That's true.
Coming from all directions. This is
Okay. Now we know. All right, no fruit for Michael. If you
No
see him,
fruit
don't
for me.
offer him fruit. Well, thank you so much for all the news. We'll check in with you next week, right?
Yes.
In a different
capacity. Capacity, yeah. So
yes.
I think the
'Cause-
time and schedule is going to be the same pretty much.
Yes, but it'll be slightly different, but you have to
Slightly
tune in
different.
to find out. How about that?
Yes.
Because next week is our new
So
season.
stay tuned for the new season.
Da-da-da.
Dun, dun,
Cliffhanger.
dun, dun.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And with that, let's get to our final song for hour number 1. This is 외톨이 by Outsider. I'll be back at 8.
befm 부산영어방송.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄
출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by befm 부산영어방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM 부산영어방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM 부산영어방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded.
What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It's now 8 o'clock. This is News Highlights. Confusion over electronics tariff exemption. U.S. officials said the Trump administration's decision to exempt electronic devices from smartphones to semiconductors earlier was only a temporary reprieve, but those products will face separate levies, adding more confusion to an already chaotic rollout of tariffs on Chinese goods. The The U.S. Customs and Border Protection, known as CBP, issued a notice on Friday local time announcing the exemption of select electronics, such as smartphones, laptops, personal computers, servers, and semiconductor equipment from the reciprocal tariffs. But on Sunday afternoon, President Donald Trump said that it was not an exception and that an investigation over semiconductors and other products will follow suit. Search continues for missing worker at subway construction site. Rescuers resumed operations yesterday and worked through the night to look for the missing worker from the subway construction site collapse in Gwangmyeong City. The worker had been missing for over 48 hours following the collapse on Friday. Search was suspended on Saturday due to adverse weather. The worker was presumed to be located 35 to 40 meters underground, but his exact location and condition remain unconfirmed, as workers are unable to access the collapsed part of the site due to safety concerns. Ex-President Yoon's insurrection trial to start today. The first criminal trial for former President Yoon Suk-yeol will begin today at the Seoul Central District Court, 10 days after he was removed from office. Yoon is required to attend the trial and will enter the court via an underground parking lot. The media will not be allowed to take photographs inside the courtroom. Yoon will be the fifth former president to stand criminal trial. Strong winds sweep across South Korea, causing damage. Strong winds of gusts of up to 20.9 meters per second swept across South Korea yesterday, toppling structures and causing power outages in various parts of the nation, authorities said. In Suwon, Gyeonggi Province, a sign fell over a parked car and a fence collapsed near pedestrians. Power outages were reported in Ulsan after the roof of an abandoned factory was torn off and struck a utility pole. Strong winds with snow and rain are forecast across the nation today, with heavy snow over the mountainous areas of Gangwon and the wind chill falling below zero in some regions. At least 34 killed in Russian ballistic missile attack on Ukraine. At least 34 people have been killed and 117 injured, including 15 children, after a Russian attack on the center of the city of Sumy, according to Ukrainian authorities. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said among the injured was a girl born this year, as 20 buildings are reportedly damaged, including educational institutions and apartment buildings. Zelensky called for a tough response from other nations, adding that talks have never stopped ballistic missiles and air bombs. Moscow has not yet publicly commented on the attack. And this was News Highlights. It's time for Waggle Waggle. We have Haley back in the studio.
Hello again.
That's right. And for our first story, it's all about this case where a high school student assaulted his teacher. And it was right in the middle of class.
And there is video proof of this. So Seoul Education Office has launched an investigation and it's providing consultations for the school after this incident at a high school in Sinjeongdong, Yangcheongu district. So this happened on Thursday of last week. A high school third-year student allegedly hit or smacks his teacher in the face with his cell phone in his hand. And you can see a photo from the clip of this. So the male student and the female teacher.
Right.
The student was apparently playing a game on his cell phone in the middle of class when the teacher told him to stop. And there was apparently an altercation. And one of the classmates took this video on their cell phone where you see the male student up by the podium, by the board, with the female student and the scene of the assault.
Right.
The student was immediately separated from the teacher and he's been ordered to stay home. And the teacher is on leave with the disciplinary process to begin. So the education office said that even if, and we don't know if he will come back, but even if he does come back to school, he will be separated from the teachers. students. And the authorities will convene a Teachers' Rights Protection Committee, 지역교권보호위원회, which is kind of like a school violence committee, but when the victim is a teacher.
Okay.
And treat it as a priority case given what's happened. So the Seoul City Education Superintendent Jung Keun-sik said this is a devastating case and expressed his deep regrets and said the most important thing is for the teacher to recover, which the office will prioritize in giving her the support she needs. The school will also provide full support for the students who witnessed the case as well as the faculty who may need help with recovery.
Yes. And I don't know, in this day and age, we hear about such weird stories, but,
This is just so shocking.
Unacceptable.
Right.
Well, in another education-related case, a school in Jeju had to apologize for historically, we'll say, inappropriate and offensive comments made by a teacher, right?
Right. So this time we're going to flip the table on about a teacher who apparently, you and I both teach.
Yes.
And we have expressed off air. It's like, kids don't talk. Like I teach adults. I don't even teach kids, but I will go into the classroom and say, good morning. And I met with crickets. And I just kid. I'm like, 내가 보이니? 내가 안 보이니? And I'm like, do you not see me? Can you not hear me? And then they'll laugh and, do that.
Their thing, yeah.
But I don't know, we would never say this. So a teacher in Jeju felt frustrated because his or her students didn't answer their question and said, oh, you're not answering because you have the April 3rd DNA in you. 4.3 유전자가 있어서 그렇다. So let me give you a little bit of background. So what is this April 3rd?
Yes.
By the way, please keep in mind this incident happened. The teachers' comments were made at a Jeju area school. The April 3rd Jeju massacre is where government forces massacred over 14,000 people on the island. And we're talking mostly civilians back in 1948.
Yes.
And this was to remove what they deemed as communist ideology and communist forces. Grave tragedy for the island. So this was at a local high school, a first-year class during orientation. So this was the very first class of the year. The teacher apparently asked a question, and when the students didn't respond, the teacher said, in Jeju, in the olden days, people got sent away when they spoke out. This must be ingrained in your DNA. So it's because you have the April 3rd genes in you, implying that's why you're not talking. Yeah.
Whoa.
And the school has confirmed this with the students.
Okay, so it wasn't just like one teacher said to another student.
Right. It was
they
in
said
the
it in
class.
front of the class. So what did the teacher say about this?
So the teacher wrote in a statement to the school that they were trying to kind of break the ice as this was the first class.
Like that way, though?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
The school deemed that it was inappropriate to mention a historical event in such a flippant manner and warned the teacher.
Right.
The school also said that it will boost its human rights education and historical sensitivity curriculum and deeply apologize to those who have been hurt by the incident. The teacher said, though, the words should be considered with the circumstances and context and the intent that this he or she was not being flippant or degrading what happened on April 3rd, nor was it in a serious context. But the students put up a poster, and you just saw that on our YouTube, 대자보, criticizing the teacher, saying that this is no different from the actual April 3rd events decades ago when victims were labeled as rebels or communists and were massacred.
As a fellow educator, I mean, there's just...
You have to be careful, and there is always a line.
Defending this type of commenting. Right. Let's move on. There is currently a move to stock up on products because, of all the tariffs going on in the U.S. And apparently, people are stocking up on Korean sunscreen. So let's talk about this new trend.
Right. So Americans are stocking up on some of their favorite items before tariffs add a 10% or, depending on where it is, 46%, even 145% cost to the prices.
Yes.
So this includes game consoles, clothes, and yes, sunscreen. So billionaire businessman Mark Cuban said on the day after the so-called Liberation Day with the tariffs, it's not a bad idea to buy a lot of consumables now. So at that point, from toothpaste to soap, anything you can find storage space for, buy them before you have to replenish inventory.
Sure.
And last week, the Washington Post named 8 items that Americans are quote-unquote hoarding, 사재기, in anticipation of the tariffs. This includes kim, dried seaweed, because a lot of them come from Asian countries.
Yeah.
Again, 46%. Okay, the reciprocal tariffs are on a 90-day pause, but who knows after July. Cat food, like yourself. Instant coffee, because a lot of, again, Vietnam, Colombia, Latin American countries. Hair bundles, so a lot of stuff you would buy on Chinese e-commerce for kind of cheaper. It's like hair pieces, board games, perfumes, and even wedding dresses.
Wedding dresses?
Wedding dresses. I guess
Made the
people are
list?
buying them on Chinese e-commerce platforms. Or if you're going to go real high-end, importing them from Paris or Rome, maybe.
Yes.
Interestingly, for cat food, it's not the food, it's the packaging. Because it comes in the tins and steel and aluminum tariffs.
Yes.
And also the Washington Post noted Korean sunscreen, which the K sunscreen is so popular.
So good.
And whenever I have friends coming from the States, their first request is, can we go to the Olive Dang place?
Yes.
Like, sure. All right. Because, and I'm quoting the WP, they offer protection, light coverage, and blends well with other makeup. So, yeah.
Yes, we're both wearing sunscreen.
We are.
Can you tell? Yes. For our final story, we've all been there. You have to go to the bathroom in the middle of something. And
maybe a live show, perhaps?
Yeah. Oh, we have had incidents. Not me.
Not me either.
Not I. Not Haley. But not all of us would seek this solution. We need to ask our PD님. 이렇게 급할 때 하실 거지?
Well, she runs. She will run, but
and I was watching the Masters. We're talking about the Masters, right?
Yeah, we are. You did.
Who's the winner?
Did you see it? Okay.
While
you look it up.
So
a Spanish amateur golfer.
Yes.
And this is my only pun, I promise. Made a splash in the middle of a game on the golf course. And what do I mean by making a splash? He urinated.
Like literally.
He peed.
Yeah.
볼일을 봤습니다. So this is during the Augusta National Masters Tournament.
Right.
Golfer Jose Luis Ballester, he urinated into a creek near the 13th hole. So why? Well, I mean,
he had to go.
When you've got to. But then there are restrooms on the course, but he said he forgot there were restrooms. And he thought to himself,
probably nervous.
Probably, that he could just sneak in the river and people wouldn't see him. People did see him.
Right.
Because it is an open course. They apparently thought it was funny, and some people applauded while he was coming out. He did say he apologized to the club, but he also said it wasn't embarrassing for people. For him to have people, see him or watch him. However, so we don't have any statement yet from Augusta National, from the golf course.
Yeah, because it's still going on right now.
But their outlets are pointing out that the golf course may not take this too kindly, although people are kind of being casual about it because golf is a very conservative sport. There are strict rules as to what you wear, how you conduct yourself. Because, for example, a different story during the Masters last year, Australian golfer Jason Day, he was asked to tone down his fashion. But for wearing what? Well, he was wearing baggy blue pants and a white sweater vest that said big letters, number 113 Melbourne Golf Championship in large block letters. So it wasn't even obscene.
Right.
It was just
golf wear, big
letters.
And then there was another time it was the same golfer. He was like dressed too casually. They're like, why are you showing up in sweats?
Right. So if sweatpants aren't allowed, will public urination be allowed?
I don't know.
We shall see.
Yes. To give you the latest on the Masters, they have gone. So it's Justin Rose versus Rory McIlroy in they're going to the playoffs. So I'm so.
She's very invested.
I'm
sure
very
Andrew
invested.
will
I
cover
watched
it.
all weekend, and then I had to come live on air. So yes, there we go. Andrew will cover it tomorrow.
All right. Oh, by the way, Souvenir said,
yes,
it's good that he didn't have a stomach ache.
Oh,
that it was only number one. And
not number
the
two.
One.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much for all the woggly news, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right, now back to you, the listeners, for updated traffic and weather. It's time for your updated traffic. There is an accident on Byeongno going away from the city right now on the Munhyun overpass. So please be aware of that. That's causing some backup. And another accident, a 3-vehicle collision on Jangsanlo going towards Songjong right before the Daecheon ramp. There is a car that has stalled on the Dongso overpass coming into the city right past the Nakdong Bridge and Gwangan Bridge. The top portion, yes, congested once again going towards Taean. And there's also backup on Gwanmun-dero from Kamjeon Ramp to the old Kaegum Toll Gate. Currently, it's 6 degrees Celsius here in Busan, and it is raining in parts of the city. The daytime high is expected to go up to 15 today, with rain on and off throughout the day. Across the nation, while we have rain, other parts might have rain, snow, and even hail. With strong winds, it is significantly colder today than usual, so you might want to layer up. Please be careful out there. This was your traffic and weather. Speaking of rain, here is 사랑비 by Kim Tae-woo.
사랑했었던 어떤 네가 떠나간 적 있겠죠. 모든 게 내 탓이란 생각이 든 적 있겠죠. 나 그래서 잡지 못했죠. 이런 아픔쯤은 모두 잊을 수 있을 거라 다른 사랑이 찾아올 거라 생각했었죠. 왜 그런데 잊질 못하죠. 그저 하늘 바라보며 외치죠. 다시 한번 나를 사랑해줘. 내 맘속 작은 바람이 비가 되어 내려오면 내 사랑이 머리에 내리면 추억이 되살아나도 가슴에 내
Welcome back, everybody. That was a good one. So breaking news, right when, the song, we were in the midst of that song, Rory McIlroy finally winning that green jacket at the Masters. We were talking about that in Wa글와글. So I wanted to give you an update. So yes, I'm sure Andrew's going to cover it, but he has now become maybe I think 6 or 7 of the Grand Slam champions, meaning he's won every single one of the majors. So I'm sure Andrew's going to cover it tomorrow. So now back to our text topic. What do you always keep in stock at your home? Some people mentioned fruit. I see a lot of milk. Milk is one also for our family. We have milk delivered to our house on Mondays and Wednesdays. The reason being is, first, I don't like carrying the big milk cartons. And so it's a little cheaper to get it delivered. So I just have that. It's definitely one thing that we always have at our home as well. Another common one that I'm seeing is kind of like the usual suspects. I see lots of like soap. And I see shampoo. That's a common one as well. So it seems like people do like to stock up on things that are used kind of on an everyday basis. And especially if you have pets, definitely, yes, all the pet necessities, because we don't want our little, furry family members going without. Well, with that, we're going to get into our special interview. And we're going to get into this U.S.-China trade war. This trade war between the United States and China continues to heat up. Both countries are placing higher tariffs on each other's goods and using economic pressure to compete. Some experts believe that China may have more power than expected, especially in technology, rare earth minerals, and access to global markets. And this conflict could affect, of course, the world economy. We're talking about the two powerhouses, right? Number 1 and number 2, the U.S. and China. But this is going to affect everybody, including us here in South Korea. Let's find out more about this. We have invited back to the airwaves William Muck, who's a professor of political science at North Central College. Hi, welcome back, Professor.
Always good to chat with you.
Yes, the pleasure is all ours. And given what's been going on, I mean, it has been a whirlwind, I'll just say, with the tariffs, the U.S. and China. They together make up, 43% of the global economy. So this ongoing trade war between the two most powerful economic countries in the world, how is that affecting global growth and economic stability?
Dramatically, like everything is dependent upon this, right? It's sort of similar to the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, where the rest of the world had to hope that these two didn't blow each other up. We're sort of in a similar economic situation. We have to hope that these two can find a way to resolve some of their differences and de-escalate out of this, because the entire global economy is dictated by these two powers. And for the last 80 years, the United States has sort of structured this system based on open trade. South Korea has done wildly well because of this system. And the United States is now walking away from that system. And in some ways, we're in this weird, awkward situation where China is defending the liberal international economic order that the United States created. So how that all shakes out, what that system looks like, all of that will be dependent upon the nature of the interaction between these two states and what ultimately becomes of that. So everybody is sort of hanging on to see what happens between these two economic powerhouses.
Indeed. It's a nail biter because, I mean, at this point, well above 100% each, tit for tat. I mean, it's going back and forth. It's like a chicken fight. Who's going to blink first? So what are the short and long-term effects of these tariffs on both countries' economies?
The short and the long term is the same. It's going to be economic pain, right? And in the short term, it's going to be awkward, and we're not going to know exactly how that's going to play out. But the economists are clear. Over the long haul, everybody loses from a trade war. And that's one thing you're hearing from everybody other than Donald Trump, is that everybody loses from this. And I think we should also step back and realize that while this particular incident is about a trade war, the broader dynamic is between the world's two biggest economic, political, military powers, right? So in some ways, this is about a trade war. but it's really signaling what that relationship between the United States and China is going to look like over the next 25, 50 years. Is it going to be one of confrontation? Is it one where these two big powers can work together? So all of this is dependent upon how this initial trade war works out. So it's really a significant and pivotal moment in history.
Yes. And, speaking of what's happening right now, I mean, certain companies, their stocks have really dropped or plummeted in some case. Apple's stock price dropping by 20% recently, might have rebounded. But, most people think, yes, due to these tariffs. So how do these large multinational companies, because everybody thinks Apple, American company, obviously phones, parts they're made in China and elsewhere. These multinational companies are caught in the middle of this trade war. So what to do?
This is absolutely right. They're stuck, right? Because they felt like they're playing by the rules. For the last 80 years, the system has been created where multinationals could engage in, business all over the world, right? And seize the advantages of different labor markets. And the whole idea is this idea of comparative advantage. You create a global marketplace for goods and services, and multinationals embrace that system. And now when Donald Trump is imposing these heavy tariffs, it makes it really, really difficult to do the things that they've been doing. And essentially, Trump is trying to end the world of globalization that we know. So a company like Apple, they're in a really difficult spot because the idea of simply picking up and moving all manufacturing back to the United States isn't possible. It's not financially feasible. It's not economically feasible. So there has to be some sort of solution to this because, again, they're operating in the system that has been in place for a long time. And now the United States is trying to upend that system. And it's really, really difficult for them to navigate.
Yes. Another issue that many people want to know about are these rare earth minerals. Apparently, China has a trove and a control over these rare earth minerals. So how could this play a factor in what's going on? I mean, could this be used as a strategic tool when negotiating or even used against the U.S.?
Oh, absolutely. And I think we should expect rare earth minerals, the bond market, all of these areas where China has some economic advantage. I think they are going to use them. And we can think about moments in history when a particular resource was valuable. When Europe was colonizing the world, they had access to steel. The Middle East, when oil became important, suddenly rose in importance as well. And so right now, we're in the 21st century. These rare earth minerals are really central to our global economy, to technology, and all of that. And China has essentially a monopoly on many of them. So they have this power over the United States that they will absolutely flex that power. And in many ways, it sort of undermines the approach that the Trump administration has been trying to play hardball. And again, try to divide the world when the United States is as dependent as many other countries on these global resources.
Yes. And assuming that this trade war continues at this pace or that, I don't even know how high they can go with these tariffs, but what kind of risks are we looking at for both China and the U.S. specifically?
Well, they're both significant, right? Again, at the end of the day, everybody loses in a trade war. But the really interesting question is who might hurt more? Who might it hurt more? And I think, the United States is in a really precarious position here. They remain the world's biggest economy, the most dynamic economy. But much of what the Trump administration is doing is undermining that. And I think China's sitting back saying that we very much, we don't like the trade war, but we like our position. And if we just stand pat and allow the United States to upend its position, to undermine itself economically, I think they feel long-term this may actually benefit China and may vault them into a higher position than the United States. So again, this is why strategically so many of these decisions don't really seem to make sense from the United States, because how this plays out could actually benefit China much more so than the United States.
So in your opinion, and I know it's very difficult to say, Professor, do you think that this is going to be a long-term thing? Because some people might think, well, we've seen President Trump before where he implements certain things and then, maybe down the line, short term, he retracts them or, a win in the column for him, he says, and then says something else to backtrack or downplay it. Do you think that it's something like that, or do you think this is something we're going to have to deal with in the long term?
It's so hard to know because you are absolutely right. Donald Trump is transactional, right? He doesn't really have any core beliefs. He is constantly shifting and shaping dependent upon public opinion. That's how his campaigns are. He's sort of listening to the people. But the tariffs seem to be something that is one of the few things he cares deeply about. Now, that being said, in the United States right now, people are really upset about this. And it's interesting because there are a lot of fiscal conservatives, individuals who voted for Trump, but maybe not because of all the social and cultural stuff, but because of the economic argument, they're freaked out. So the question is, will those voices be able to move Donald Trump? I think it's unlikely that President Xi is going to shift, right? I think they both have big egos, and I think they're both looking at this. They don't want to compromise. The question is, will the economic pressure on the United States become so severe that Trump shifts, right, and moves away from this hardcore approach? So we will see. But I've given up trying to predict where Donald Trump is moving next because we just don't know.
One final wrap-up question, Professor, while I have you. I'm very curious as to who has Donald Trump's ear right now. I mean, who is he listening to the most? Because we hear about, of course, the close ties with Elon Musk, obviously an entrepreneur, but also Letnick. I mean, who is he listening to? Do we know?
I think for a long time it was Elon, but the rumors you're hearing now is that the administration and Trump himself are getting a little tired of Elon, that Elon has wore thin a little bit. And so Peter Navarro, I think, is one of the most important voices right now because he's really the only economist in the administration who's arguing hardcore for these tariffs, right? It's hard to find. I try to find an economist who thinks this is a good idea. It's very difficult to find. So I think Peter Navarro is somebody that Trump turns to, and Peter Navarro will say, yes, this is the right course of action. Again, even though most economists very, very much disagree. So I think those two are, and maybe even a little bit of Steve Bannon, right? This sort of economic nationalist argument. But those things also change very, very quickly as well.
I see. Well, thank you so much for coming on air with us to explain what's going on with this trade war between the two most powerful economic countries in the world. Thank you, Professor.
Always good to be here. Thank you so much.
This was Professor William Muck going over the ins and outs of this tariff war going on between the U.S. and China. So it looks like we might be in it for at least, at least the midterm, maybe even the long term. We might have to buckle down and get ready for the long fight. Well, this was our special interview. We're going to take a short song break. Here it is. This is Kiss the Rain by Iruma as requested by Souvenir.
your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
It is time for Business Perspectives. We have Claire here for our final session.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, everybody.
I hope you had a good weekend.
I had a great weekend. I had a great sleep. So I'm refreshing today.
Good. Yay. Text topic time. So what is something, whether it's food or an item, that you always have in stock at home? Like, it never runs out because you always have it.
My house. That's quack tissue.
Oh, really? Tissue?
Because I have allergy, 비염 all the time. So I need good tissue. When it's half price, I stock them up.
Oh.
And then, because otherwise my skin gets
irritated,
red,
right?
Irritated, yeah.
So you got to use the, we can't say brand names, but like the a particular like good brand.
Particular good brand, yes.
So it makes a difference, the quality of the tissue.
How much you blow your nose, your skin doesn't get irritated.
Oh, the expensive kind. Fancy.
Just on that.
And I believe a souvenir said this. 왜 근데 아무도 쌀은 이야기 안 하죠? That's
right.
That's true. Rice is such a staple.
Rice
in
and
most, the instant rice.
Pre-cooked.
Yeah, the instant rice. It's probably a staple in most people's homes because who doesn't like a little rice, right? At least maybe once a day. Yes. Well, let's dive into business perspectives. What do you have for us today?
So here's a question to kick us off.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of a company that told you not to buy their product?
No.
Because that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Really? Why would they do that?
So we're diving into Patagonia. The outdoor brand that built a billionaire fashion business by saying no.
No.
So it says no to fast fashion, no to quarterly pressure, and yes to doing business in radically different way.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. So I'm sure many people have, heard of this company. It's a major company, yes. So what are we going to start with? Are we going to start from the very beginning?
We're going to start from the very beginning. So this guy is a definition of reluctant businessman.
Ooh, who is he?
He was a climber, he was a surfer, and a blacksmith who had zero interest in corporate life.
Wait, a climber, a surfer, and a blacksmith.
And here's a cool connection.
Yes.
During his time in the U.S. Army, he was actually stationed in Korea in the early 1960s. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention his name, Yvon Chouinard.
Oh, important, right?
Yeah. So he climbed Bukhansan and Dobongsan.
Yes.
So there's still a route in Seoul known as the Chouinard route.
Yes,
apparently.
Ooh, so I don't know. We have lots of trekkers or climbers out there. You might have,
unknowingly
past him. I don't know.
The Patagonia.
Yes.
Hike. So back in the States, he started forging climbing tools in a chicken coop.
In a chicken coop?
In his parents' backyard.
Wow. So he started out like humbly.
No office, no desk. Just a real gear for real climbers.
Okay.
So do you think that kind of scrappy, like handmade start still works in today's business?
I don't know because hasn't it changed so much? Like the atmosphere, everything's like VC backed and it's like big money. You have an idea.
You need marketing.
You do marketing or you do crowd fundraising. There are so many different ways
to
shine.
To start with. So I'm not sure if that still works. But anyway, so the gear company, so he called Chouinard Equipment.
Okay.
It starts growing.
Yes.
But then Chouinard noticed something disturbing.
What?
His piton, it's a metal spikes climbers hammer into rock. So they hammered in the rock to climb up. And they were damaging the rock that he loves.
Oh.
So what does he do?
Oh, gosh.
He stops making them.
Because of the damage?
Because of the damage.
Ooh, he is a man who believes.
He stops making his core product because it didn't align with his values.
That is so like thinking way beyond outside the box.
Yeah.
Because most people, if you're in any type of business, it's like to turn over a profit.
Yeah.
To be in the black.
The core value would be turn over the profit.
Right,
that would be the one. But that moment, choosing planet over profit, became Patagonia's blueprint. So at that point, he even invited some of his Korean climbing partners to the U.S. to help build what came next.
Oh, really? That's interesting. So all these connections to Korea, we're making them.
It's just a little connection.
But I still don't know how you can walk away from your best-selling product, but it clashes with your ethics. Interesting.
But that's how Patagonia earned trust
early on. Okay. So, you mentioned that, at first it wasn't Patagonia. It was just a surname.
Yeah.
So how did it transition into Patagonia?
So after he stopped making his baton, he launched clothing line. And he needs a name that feels wild and adventurous. And that lands on Patagonia, which is the southernmost region of South America. It represents untouched nature, remote landscapes, and a sense of wonder. And there's bonus.
Yes.
It worked across languages, which helped the brand scale globally later on.
Yes,
it doesn't matter which language you speak.
That's
Patagonia,
true.
anyone can. Yeah, and the first store opens in Ventura, California. So apparently that's just minutes from the beach. And yes, if the waves looked good, employees were encouraged to leave work and go surf.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
What a surfer CEO can do.
Like, okay,
it looks
오늘
nice.
파도 너무 좋네. Let's go surfing.
You guys go. And
he thinks so. He's not even in a box. He thinks very differently.
So that surf-friendly culture wasn't just for fun.
Yes.
So it actually reflected the company's belief that work should support your life, not consume it.
Oh.
So obviously another flipped idea.
Yes. Well, tell us more because I'm so curious now.
So there's a big marketing strategic defiance. Here. So it's Black Friday, 2011.
Okay.
The biggest shopping day of the year globally now.
Yes.
So all the other brands are blasting discounts. Buy our products. Patagonia takes our full page ad in the New York Times.
And it says what?
Says, don't buy this jacket.
Literally, don't buy this jacket.
Literally, this is the word by word. Yes.
Wow. That's like, I don't even know what to make of this. But then when you see like a full page ad in the New York Times and it says don't do this, you're like immediately you're thinking, what is this? Do I need to get it?
Yes, exactly.
It's like reverse psychology.
Exactly. But it wasn't a gimmick.
Okay.
It was actually a challenge. So what they really meant by that was only buy this if you really need it.
So if it's like an unnecessary item, don't get it. If you really are into this.
Yeah.
If you really need it.
So the ad broke down the environmental cost of producing one jacket.
Yes.
The water used, the carbon emitted, and the waste created.
Okay. So they wanted people to really start thinking
of
before just buying.
Yes, exactly.
So this is just like the antithesis, the opposite of like fast fashion these days.
Exactly.
Where you like go on like sites and it's like everything's fast and cheap and not good quality.
It's a new trend. You need this as well and this as well to go with this, and you need this as well. So
but he went the opposite way.
So there's a twist. Sales went up.
Ingenious.
Like we talked about, because people didn't see it as anti-consumer. They saw it as trustworthy.
Yes.
So it turned Patagonia into a brand people believed in, not just bought from.
So it's like a whole lifestyle, like the thinking behind it. I'm buying into the thinking and the ethics.
I bought Patagonia, and I'm thinking more about environment.
Right. You're making
that
a
kind of values
statement
as well. And they didn't stop there.
Right.
So another CEO, Rose Macario, she made another unconventional move.
Okay.
So they stopped issuing quarterly earnings reports.
Really? Yes. From an American, like huge company, corporate America?
Exactly.
No quarterly reports?
No quarterly reports.
Wow.
So that's what they believed, short-term pressure kills long-term thinking.
Oh, let's let that sink in. The short-term pressure is stunting long-term thinking. Oh my gosh. Okay.
By ditching it, they gave themselves space to innovate, even in unexpected ways.
Sure.
For example, Patagonia partnered with Samsung Electronics to develop a microplastic reducing filter for washing machine.
Oh, now they're now
Washing
going
machine.
from hiking equipment to wearables, and then now
washing
machines.
Collaborating with washing machines.
So outdoor gear and washing machines. Okay.
Because the microplastics from laundry are a hidden source of pollution.
Yes.
And Patagonia only collaborates with brands that are genuinely committed to sustainability.
Oh, goodness. Yes.
So when Samsung stepped in, they said yes.
So I never thought about that. The whole idea about, my washing machine could be polluting or helping to pollute, create pollutants that go into the water. Ultimately, yes. So I'm sure it got a lot of people thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And most of us didn't.
Right.
Until Patagonia made it part of their mission. And now the final move, the shock.
There's more.
Shook the business world.
Okay. What else?
This is the final. In 2022, Shanad made the ultimate value-driven decision.
Yes.
Which is instead of handing Patagonia to his kids or selling it to investors, he gave it away.
Like literally?
Literally.
Okay,
He transferred 100% of company shares to a trust and non-profit. All profits after reinvestment now go toward fighting climate change and protecting the planet.
This is a man who is really vested and invested in what he really thinks ethically is correct.
And then he just keep pushing it towards.
Right. So what does this mean, that Patagonia doesn't have owners? I'm not quite sure.
Not in traditional sense.
Okay.
As Shanad put it as, Earth is now our only shareholder.
Oh, goodness. Wow, that's so deep. Earth is
really deep.
Only shareholder. This is so beyond any business, the thinking. And we've covered so many businesses.
I cannot really imagine, if you build something this big,
right?
Could you really give it away to serve a
I don't know.
bigger mission, which is you can't really see, maybe in his lifetime, he may not be able to see it.
That's true. And so, when we think of this brand, we think of kind of the lifestyle, the outdoorsy,
fleece
and then the
jacket.
fleeces, and the backpacks and all that, right? But it's kind of like a master class in business leadership.
And it's unique.
Right.
Very unique case. So there's some takeaway points for today's.
Yes.
First one will be value can be strategy.
Okay. Yes, value.
Yeah. So don't separate purpose from business. So they can drive each other.
And what else?
And the biggest one, saying no can build a loyalty.
I know, but it's so counterintuitive. If you're in business, you don't want to say no.
I think you have very strong ethics and core.
Yeah.
To say no.
And you have to have a firm planted belief.
Very firm.
Deep in your soul. So deep. Right. What else?
And the third, but not the least, is ownership is design decision.
Oh.
So they structured the company to serve the planet forever.
Okay.
Not just quarterly returns, so not for the profit. So they just, like I said, forever. They want to serve the earth forever.
Wow. That's just a lot to unfold, especially on a Monday morning, but so inspiring at the same time.
Inspiring, yes.
Right.
Someone is working really hard for our earth.
Yes. Because not all of us have the exact same core values. We're not AI robots.
Yeah.
Every one of us has different core values. But
some are agreeing, some are not agreeing.
Yes. And so, but to believe in something,
this
strongly, so deeply, so profoundly that it kind of affects every fiber of his being and the way he runs his business. And well, not his business apparently anymore, but yes,
Earth's
business. Yes. Wow. So, what is it that you want to leave us with today? You left us with a plethora of great information, and I hope we're inspired. But
I just say, I think this is the story that changes how you think about growth, leadership, and what business can be. So it's saying no might be the most powerful business strategy of all. I think that really struck me, saying no.
Saying no, right?
Saying no is, I even took the class, how to say no.
Oh, really? You took a class on that?
Yes.
And how did that turn out? Are you able to say no now?
I was able to say no.
Oh.
I became.
Because I think a lot of us tend to be like people pleasers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love yes mans.
Yes, and saying okay. And then like you feel it's sometimes self-guilt or somebody, gives you a guilt trip. You're like, oh, okay, I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I had trouble, especially in workplace.
Yeah, so how do you say no? Give us an example.
So I would explain. I would elaborate my situation and just logically thinking. It's not that I have, personal feelings.
Yes.
So I was just logically thinking my schedule, my workloads. And
yes.
Based on that, I don't think I can take this project.
Okay.
More logical way or more calmly because I shouldn't react really emotionally or
I see.
You give me too much work. Why always me? Kind of this kind of unprofessional way.
I see. So think more logically and to explain your situation calmly. Got it. Well, hopefully today on this kind of gloomy, wet Monday, our wavers out there, wherever you are, whether you're in Busan or somewhere else in Korea or around the world, we can think about this. And it's not about like this particular brand, but maybe the thinking, maybe to learn something, right?
Inside the core.
The intrinsic values that you really cherish. Well, thank you so much for coming in for the past couple of weeks for Business Perspectives. And Claire will be joining us next season, but you're going to have to stay tuned next week to find out in what regard for our brand new season. So thank you, Claire.
Always pleasure.
All right.
Have a great
everybody,
day.
It's time to say goodbye. And once again, depending on where you are, you might have rain, snow, or even hail. And definitely it might be a gusty kind of day depending on where you are. So please take your time and be safe out there today. With that, we're going to end it with this song. This is Heaven by Fitz and the Tantrums. Have a fantastic Monday. Bye, everybody.
Sometimes it feels like a feather, sometimes it feels like a boulder. Sometimes the world makes it easy, sometimes it falls on your shoulders. We say forever and never, but we don't know when it's over. So let's go so hard we get to heaven hungover. Do it all for the chase, okay. Same time, different place, all day. We do what it takes to keep it going. Don't know when this party's all gonna go away. So find that glass that you wanna race. We can make some brand new memories. Just steady slipping, clock is ticking. No, I can't lose this feeling I'm in. Gonna feel this in the morning. No, I don't know what I'm doing. That's human. Sometimes it feels like a feather, sometimes it feels like a boulder. Sometimes the world makes it easy, sometimes it falls on your shoulders. We say forever and never, but we don't know when it's over. So let's go so hard we get to heaven hungover. We know the deal, leave it all out on the field. 95 down the highway with nobody behind the wheel. No, I can't lose this feeling again. Gonna put it all down on red, and I don't care if I lose it, that's human. Sometimes it feels like a feather, sometimes it feels like a boulder. Sometimes the world makes it easy, sometimes it falls on your shoulders. We say forever and never, but we don't know when it's over. So let's go so hard we get to heaven hungover. Nobody knows when it's over, so let's go so hard we get to heaven hungover. Do it all for the chase, okay. Same time, different place, all day. So hard that we make it to heaven.